guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over an email that was sent from a subscriber. That's from a guy, he's 32 years old, and he shares his story how about 6 weeks ago, sometime in June, he abruptly dumped his girlfriend and kicked her to the curb after he was throwing a big barbecue, and she was acting inappropriately with one of the dudes that was there. You're going to see that this guy has had a past where he had definitely one girl who was behaving in a similar manner that really heightened his radar for these types of BS problems, and he's quite accurate about it. And as you can imagine, after he did this, he's getting some heat from his friends that he may have acted too harshly. I can't recall if they were calling him insecure or something like that. And so he's writing in, sharing his story. He wants to know from me and you guys, A, did he handle things right with her? Was he in the wrong there? And B, the situation with his bros. Is it a time where maybe it's time to distance himself from them, find new friends because they're both married guys and that type of thing, and he doesn't want to be rubbed off by weak people or people he can't trust, that type of thing. So it's a two-sided story here, the gal and the bros, and how to handle it. And I've been going to go over here, guys, is another example about spotting red flags. How when there's clear evidence of BS going on or BS going on behind the scenes, it's time to cut these gals loose because a lot of them do the same crap that you hear in these stories. And also, there are times in your life, guys, where you have people in your life, they can be friends for a while, and you no longer connect with interests, or you may realize that you know what, I can't really trust them anymore, or just their behavior is going to start rubbing off of me in a negative way. It's time to then distance myself and move on, that type of thing. So I want to go over something that a lot of guys may go through, and that's why I'm covering this here. So hopefully, at the end, we can help this guy out given his situation. It says, hello SSM. I'm not sure if I'm doing this right, but I had a question I needed some advice about on something that happened recently. I wish I had some strong guys in my life, but most of my friends, both men and women, are saying I made a huge mistake because of my insecurity and bad experiences in the past. Insecurity, huh? Well, at the end of this story, both myself and the brothers here will decide whether your actions were insecure or they're just a bunch of people that say you're insecure. So I recently dumped a girl I was talking to for about 4 months before she wanted us to be in a relationship. You're dating 4 months and she's already pushing a relationship? I haven't had the best luck with women throughout the years. Oh, sorry, I'm also 32 years old, never married, but engaged one time. It didn't work out when I found out that she was still holding a flame for her ex-boyfriend, whom she described to me as a toxic, abusive a-hole. For whatever reason, as bad as she described him, she never blocked him from her communications, and every time he called, she was Johnny on the spot responding. Yeah, Guess what? She wasn't over him. And probably if he would have wanted her back, she would have taken him. Or maybe she was secretly taking him behind the scenes. Who knows? That happened 3 times, and after 2 warnings that I needed to stop, I caught her texting him a 3rd time behind my back, and I booted her out. Good for you. Good job, bro. Guess what? That wasn't insecure behavior, but I'm sure somebody told you it was being insecure. We were together for a little more than 3 years and engaged for 7 months. Now I understand what you mean when you say that's too soon for an engagement. Never again. It's funny, but it was my mom that told me the more a woman complains about an ex, the less she's over him. If she was over him, she wouldn't talk to or about him at least. At least I didn't waste anything but time on her, but looking back, I wish I could get a refund. Your mom, there's an example where a woman actually is right about women. Yeah, if she was over him, she wouldn't be talking about him, complaining about him and all that. Exactly. Sorry for rambling, but here's the issue I want some advice for. It was about 8 months into our relationship, a total of about a year, when I threw a pool party at my house for a little get-together to let both of our friend groups meet each other. That was in June of this year. Okay, so about, a little over a month ago. I have 2 friends who I've been tight with since middle school. Both of them are married with kids, and while we don't run in the same circles anymore, since they have families and I'm still out there on the hunt, I've always considered them my closest friends, and we spend some time together a few times a month, as long as it doesn't interfere with their home life. I get it that there are different stages in life, and I'm not angry. Anyone that I would consider a close friend will always put their family first. Well, at the end of the day, I mean, if they have kids and everything, they got to take care of their families. You are in different stages. You're a single guy. You're a bachelor on your own. You come and go as you please. But they are men that have wives and kids, and they're going to have to obviously have their jobs to take care of their families. They're going to take their kids to do stuff, be a good role model for their children. Obviously, spending some time with their wife. Fair enough. But we're going to learn that these guys are also clearly pushover nice guys. But it's actually good that they get together and you guys hang out. I'll call my now ex-girlfriend Kim. She's 30 years old, and you can call me John, and I'm 32. Before this pool party, I met each of her friends, and thought they were okay. At least I didn't see anything from them that gave me the creeps. There were 3 couples, 2 were married, and 1 in a 4-year relationship that looked like it was heading towards marriage. I also invited my neighbors to the party since I've known them for a long time. They're an older couple in their late 40s, and their kids both teenagers. Older couple in their late 40s. Newsflash, sir, I'm almost in the late 40s stage. That's not an older... When I hear older couple, I'm thinking they got a lot of gray hair. Maybe somebody has a cane. They're, on Social Security or darn close to that. But he's 32, but late 40s is an older couple. I know what you mean by that, but I got to mess with you. They're an older couple in their late 40s, and their kids, both teenagers, a boy and a girl, have my permission to use my pool whenever they want, and they usually go do it with their own friends. Okay, so you got a backyard party going with your friends, the neighbors that you like, with the older neighbors and their kids, and her friends. A big get-together barbecue to get to know each other. Fine. My neighbors, Grant and Melissa, love to use the pool sometimes and are always bringing something to grill when they do. We have a connecting door on the fence around the yard, and I don't mind at all if they use the pool. And in the 5 years I've been their neighbors, they'd never give me a reason to second-guess them. All around great people and wonderful neighbors. Man, where the hell do you live? Do you live where, Leave It to Beaver took place? Where, your neighbors come and go as they please in your pool? Ain't no way I've let my neighbors in my pool, and I like my neighbors already. But that's very nice of you. I hope you have an umbrella policy and a lot of insurance in case anything ever goes wrong. You got to be careful. You might ask why a single guy in his 30s is living in a nice home with a pool. I'm living in a nice house with a pool, and I'm in my 40s. Well, when I bought it, I was expecting to be married not long after, but that didn't happen. I'm not going to go into all the initial regret I had for buying the house when I dumped the ex, but in hindsight, it was a great investment, and I love my house. Bro, it's your man cave. Obviously, it's probably quite large for one dude, but you're happy with it. You got your pool. Great. And if you can afford it, and you can comfortably make your payments for everything, and you're not house poor, okay. In total, there were 15 adults and 5 kids, all 16 and under, that showed up. If you're doing quick math, she had 3 friends with significant others. I had 3, including my neighbors, and then there was Kim and myself. Her friends brought one of their other friends, her friends brought one of their other friends, a guy we'll call Sam, who was single, but apparently someone all her friends had been friends with for a long time, and who I hadn't met before. Okay, enter Sam. I know there was a lot of mumbo-jumbo going on here with people and all that, but now we're getting to the main point, guys. Enter Sam. I'm sorry for all the details, but they're important. Fair enough. I really need some advice, so I figured I'd just include everything I thought was important. There's a lot more, but most of it is just noise. If you need any clarifications, please let me know. I don't. The pool party was going just fine for about 2 hours. Everyone was having fun. The kids were having a great time in the pool, while the adults were mostly sitting around with some drinks and relaxing. Being the host, I was spending most of my time on the grill, occasionally talking to people who came over. It's funny, most of the women were talking about how nice everything was, and most of the guys were trying to put their own spin on how to work the grill. I guess the caveman DNA kicks in when there's raw meat and fire. That's true. I've been to so many barbecues where all the guys are congregating around the grill with a beer in hand, and the women are usually on the other side, babbling on about what they babble on, and kids are playing, running around, raising hell. Yeah, there was something about the fire and raw meat with us guys. Early on, I noticed that Sam was spending a lot of time talking with Kim. But I didn't give it a lot of thought since they were all friends and he was there alone. I'll admit that it was more than likely that male insecurity that women are always talking about. But after about 2 hours, I noticed that Kim was spending nearly all of her time with Sam, and it didn't look like and I didn't like the look on her face or how close they seemed to be. Trust your gut, bro. Your gut told you, your previous fiance you were engaged to, that something was up. The way she was always talking about her ex and other issues, and guess what? You caught her red-handed talking to him and all that, texting and all that. No. So you obviously have a good radar for this type of bullshit. And something ain't right. Why are they constantly, these two are, okay, they're friends, so they're going to talk. And he should, by the way, she shouldn't be having any guy friends at this point to hang out with and talk and text with and all. And you never heard of this guy before. But being a guy you never heard of before at all or met, they seem awfully close. Isn't that interesting? And they're talking all close and you're not comfortable. Trust your gut. Still, I was trying to be the trusting boyfriend and not let past demons cloud my judgment. None of her friends seemed to be acting like there was anything wrong, so I did my best to control my own thoughts about questioning their relationship. Well, just because her friends aren't behaving like something's out of the ordinary doesn't mean that something isn't out of the ordinary. I probably should have acted sooner than I did, but that damn trying to trust someone when your gut is telling you not to was hard to overcome. I'm not sure if it was my own inaction, the alcohol, or just fate, but the longer I watched from a distance, the more frustrated I was becoming. After an hour and a half, I noticed that the most of the conversation that Kim and Sam were having were in whispered tones. And I still have no idea if it's my own insecurities, but it seemed like Kim was making sure she knew where I was at all times, while continuing to talk quietly to Sam, who seemed to be entirely too close to her. She's your girlfriend. She shouldn't be, as you described, super, there's certain distances people have, got a personal space and all. So something's off. And the fact the whole time they're whispering, and she's keeping an eye on you to make sure you don't come by or hear. Yeah. So far, my friend, in my book, you're not being insecure. You're trusting but verifying, and your trust is dropping real quick. So in the end, it was one of the husbands of her friends that sealed the deal for me. Still working the grill, he came up to me and was making casual conversation when he said something that didn't sit right with me. He said, "You seem like a great guy, and thanks for having us over." I brushed it off and told him that it was nice to meet some of Kim's friends. He gave me a hard look and was quiet for a few minutes before asking how serious I was with Kim. These are interesting question. How serious? Now, okay, he could ask this, because he's known her. But the fact that he's like, "You seem like a great guy." I told him that I was as serious as a boyfriend can be with a girlfriend, and then he nuked everything I thought I knew. He said, "Normally I wouldn't say anything, but you need to be careful with Sam." Oh, really? Interesting. I asked him why, and he got flashbacks from an earlier time in my life. And I got flashbacks from an earlier time in my life. He asked, "You know that Kim and Sam used to date, right?" Uh-huh. Guess you're not so insecure after all in their behavior. Sitting all close, whispering, body language is a little off here. Used to date. She didn't mention that. I told him that I had no idea and asked him how long ago. He said that they seemed to be the boomerang couple. They dated in high school when he found out that she cheated on him. After that, they broke up for a few years and got back together and broke up again when she caught him cheating on her. So, she has a history of cheating. And then they're back on again, off again. And yet they're sitting so close, whispering and all that. Nope. This is not girlfriend material. Nope. History of cheating. She didn't mention this guy. She's behaving in a sneaky manner. That happened a few more times over the years, but for whatever reason, they could never completely break things off, and then he crushed my world. He said they'd been acting entirely too close all night, and he was afraid that I was going to be the next victim in her war, in a war that I didn't know I was even fighting in. He said it was probably nothing but to watch my back with her. Okay, so this is the husband of her female friends telling him this. A conspiracy theorist could say, "Oh, he's just trying to, maybe he likes her and is trying to get back at her." No, I don't buy that. I think this guy's being quite genuine. So, he's getting the warning from a fellow bro. I can still remember how instant my decision was. Not because they were friends, not because they invited him without my knowledge, but because she didn't have the decency and respect to tell me he was an ex-boyfriend. Yeah, he's a many times on again, off again ex-boyfriend. I know there are guys out there that say you can't just turn love off. For those guys, all I have to say is grow a damn spine and wake up. It took me about 2 minutes to get my mind right, and I was already walking by the time I knew what I had to do. I stopped in with all my friends and my neighbors and let them know quietly that the party was over and they should gather their families and go home. It was right before I talked to my last friend that I realized that in 2 hours, Kim never once came over to talk to me. She spent the entire time entertaining her ex-boyfriend while I was playing the good host. Yep. Remember, guys, you pay attention to people's actions, not their words. Her actions are saying everything. It took about 20 minutes for my friends and my neighbors to make their apologies and leave, but they did, thankfully. I told all of them they needed to go because I was about to do something that no children needed to see. Knowing me as well as they did, there was not much of an argument. After my guests left, I was watching everyone. Kim and Sam were still talking like there was nobody else in my yard, and the guy who talked to me whispered something to his wife and called out to his kids it was time to leave. So they're there in the back of the yard, congregating under the umbrella, whispering and being too close, and not noticing everybody else is leaving. Yeah, she's really into him. He has her undivided attention. Because he was nice enough to give me a heads up, I waited for him to gather his family and make their exit. When they were gone, we were left with two of her friends, one more kid, and Kim and Sam, who didn't seem to notice anything wrong. When her friend and his family left, I called out to those who were still there and told them the party was over and it was time for them to leave. It was the first time all evening that Kim even acknowledged I was there, and she was asking what I was talking about. Really? You haven't noticed all the people departing? I told her she needed to take her friends and leave, and I told her she needed to take her friends and leave, and I left them speechless when I walked into my house. It was only a few minutes before Kim came in and asked me what was going on, and that I was embarrassing her. My fucking house, my fucking rules, and we needed to talk. I told her that she needed to take her friends and get out, and that we were done. If I could paint a picture of someone in complete shock, it would have looked like her. She asked me what was going on, and I told her that she spent the entire day with her ex-boyfriend that I didn't know was an ex-boyfriend, and it was time for her to leave. Here we go. Here we go with the avalanche of insults. Insecure, controlling, blah, blah, blah. She started crying, shocker, saying she didn't do anything wrong and that he was just a friend now, but I told her I don't care. She brought her ex to my home, spent the entire day with him like I didn't exist, and she expected me to accept that level of disrespect. That's exactly what she did. That's exactly what she expected. Her perception of you is that she could pull this type of bullshit and get away with it. She was wrong. We argued for about 20 minutes. I wouldn't have wasted my time arguing with her. Don't argue with women. Don't waste your time, guys. But in the end, I told her to leave under her own power or I was going to throw her out. Yeah, I kind of wish you did. That would have been kind of funny. All of her pleas turning into cussing, but eventually she and her remaining friends left. I don't care who she left with, and I'm not the least bit concerned for my safety. Sam was a nice-looking guy, but if it came down to it, I'd break some bones and not feel the least bit sorry for him. As a general PSA, ladies, if you want a man to take you seriously, cut off your exes completely. You can't have one foot in the door and one ready to bail if you want a man to be only yours. Well, I agree with that. But generally speaking, a lot of women will always keep guys around as backup. Keep guys in the friend zone. Or be talking to that ex that didn't quite work out with, just in case. There's always an insurance. There's always a backup. And this is why you spend a long time with her, getting to know her to see what she's like. It's easy to put on a show during the honeymoon phase and all. And a lot of guys get the rose-colored tinted glasses on and refuse to see anything else going on because they're enjoying the pussy. And, like, oh, I finally found the one. And ignore the obvious red flags waving around at you. So you can spot these things to see if there are any guys in the picture or anything like that. So that's what happened, and here's my question I needed some advice for. I have no doubt in my mind that I did the right thing when it comes to Kim. Well, then you shouldn't have any questions. My issue is that my two best friends have both told me that I acted too rashly in breaking up with her, and funny enough, both of their wives told me privately that I did the right thing. Hang on. Your two nice guy friends told you did the wrong thing, acted too harshly, overreacted, but their wives privately told you did the right thing. What the hell is frozen over here? I lost a lot of respect for two men I thought I could trust. Even their own wives agree with me. How can I continue to hold them as friends when they're demonstrating such weakness? And how can I ever trust their wives when I can see they see the same thing as me? This might not seem like a big deal to a lot of people, but trust is so important to me. I'm not sure I couldn't befriend someone without trust. I know this might not seem like a big deal to a lot of people, and regardless how I acted, I can't help but think that prior relationships have made me so unforgiving that I might be unjustly ending an otherwise good relationship. SSM, help me. Okay, so I'm going to address the first issue, the first issue about the girl, and if you handle things right, and then I'll move on to your bros that you've been buddies with since middle school. So, you're 32, so you've known them probably for like 18, 20 years. As with your now ex, you absolutely handled it right. You did not overreact. You observed the behavior of those two. Something didn't sit right with you. Then the husband of a couple of her friends came over and told you the truth, that she has a history with this guy, on again, off again. She cheated on him, he cheated on her. Lots of drama. And last time I checked, women like drama, and some love to be in the middle of drama. And you were going to no doubt be, if she wasn't already cheating on you with that guy, it was going to happen. Or maybe at best she'd just dump you for him and you get your heart broken or something. And she never told you. She never told you all about this guy and had the gall to bring him to your party. So it shows no respect for you. You're the guy that she's with now until that things work out with that guy. She's been constantly carrying a torch. So she is deceitful. You can't trust her. And she was making you look like a fool in your own house. Right? I mean, that ain't cool. You're there grilling, you're the host, and she doesn't come over for hours to even talk to you or acknowledge you because that guy had her undivided attention. You can see through her actions. So no, you are not in the wrong for breaking up with her. So you can absolutely sleep better at night, but I'm sure you are anyway, knowing, in my opinion, that you handled it right. And I'm sure 98.9% of the guys watching this are going to agree with me on that. So you're good there. But now on to the bigger issue about your bros. And I can see that your issues with your bros is more important to you. Yeah, they think you overreacted. And obviously, you said these are family men, married guys. And they may be good guys, but obviously they sound like typical nice guys. So that's going to be up to you, bro. I know you don't... It's like this, and if you haven't heard me say it, maybe you heard it other places, we are the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with. So if you hang out with a bunch of drug addicts and alcoholics and people that are losers, they're going to rub off on you in a negative way. If you hang out with a bunch of successful people that are trying to better themselves in life, move up in the world, they're positive on all fronts, healthy, take care of themselves, that is likely to rub off on you in a positive way. So you want to hang out with positive people. If you hang out with a bunch of guys that are a bunch of pushover, nice guys, simp, blue pill, well, you get the point. That's going to rub off on you. So you obviously don't want to be around people like that. So you're going to have to ask yourself, is it worth having them in your life? It's one thing for them to say, I think you're a little too hard on her, as opposed to like browbeating you about it. But then again, at the end of the day, you just don't want to hear it. So, in my opinion, it's kind of like this. The old spring cleaning thing. In the spring, you go through, you clean the house out after a long winter. Well, if you have winter like I did in Massachusetts, I don't have winter in Florida anymore. And, you get rid of some things you don't use anymore. Some old books that you never read, old clothes you don't wear anymore, old shoes, that type of thing. I think every once in a while you need a refresher of the people in your life. If they're no longer adding value, they don't have your back, your ideals don't match up anymore, you don't think you can trust them, or that, whatever. Sometimes it's important time to, after every 5 to 10 years, to do a reshuffle of people in your life if they're no longer, making your life better. So I would say that if you think that and feel that about your 2 former bros or your 2 current bros, that it's getting to be an issue or something like that, then I would act accordingly. But I'm not there, so I don't know exactly how long it's been going on. But I also don't want you to drop them after like darn near 20 years of friendship over just something like this. So I would definitely sleep on that and really think things through. Because if they've been there for you, if they've been good guys, you know, they may be nice guys, a little blue-pilled a bit, obviously, then, but they're good to you and they have your back and all that. But I would really evaluate that before you make a decision that you're going to distance yourself or part ways. You know, unless you have a really good, solid, genuine reason to distance yourself, I would really think about that seriously. But if without a shadow of a doubt that they're making things a problem for you or something like that, then okay. And that's what I think. And so, guys, if you're watching this, also let him know what you think about him handling the two friends. I know some of you guys are like, get rid of him right away. Well, it's been close to 20 years. Really evaluate the situation. I mean, I've done stories where clearly friends of guys writing in are definitely holding them back and definitely are a problem, bringing drama into their lives. They're a bunch of nice guys, and to the point that weak-ass bitch guys are impacting him, and they need to go. But I would need to hear more about their character and all that before I would say absolutely cut them off. So that's going to be up to you. But as for her, you did the right thing, and do not buy this insecure shit. And I don't believe you said that they're calling you insecure. If they're calling you insecure, if I missed that somehow and they're labeling you insecure and a bunch of nasty names, then okay, it's time for them to go. Maybe I missed that. I don't know. All right, guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Let this guy know what you think. Give him some feedback on both issues with him handling the girl and his bros. Maybe you guys have been in a situation like this, and hopefully we can help him out. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.